did not launch the product. They actually held on that recession period until fourth quarter 29. They then replenish the former en bloc to the marketplace to launch them. Okay, and once they launched this former en bloc, it brought the market up by 62 percentage points over 17 quarters. That impact was so huge that it requires the government to introduce 7 sets of cooling measures between September 2009 all the way to January 2013. But that didn't stop the red hot market. So what happened was they finally introduced one more cooling measures called the total debt servicing ratio in June 2013. Just follow my cursor, and that's where the property prices starts to drop. Okay, I'm going to bring in this chart called the en bloc cycle, and this en bloc cycle will give you different phenomenon that you will basically understand that drive the market high, and the market dries up so high that government has to intervene the market by introduce cooling measures. Okay, so what is the catalyst that drives so-called prices up and why government intervene? Okay, so with this, I want to bring you to some legend in this graph so that you are following with me as I were to go along with this graph. Okay, so on the left axis here, these are the property price indexes, and this is how URA measure price performances. Okay, and on the right axis here, these are transaction volume in 5, 10, 15,000 denominator. And in the bottom axis, we have a timestamp of 25 years from 95 all the way to year 2020, and we're going to move it forward to 2024 as we go along the way. Okay, so at the top bracket, we will see self-inflicted cooling measures by way of government intervention. Okay, so these are by way of government proactive action. And at the bottom here, these are external shockwave that are by way of Brexit, or even we talk about US-China trade war, recession, pandemic, whatnot. So these are by way of macro economy. Okay, so the very first attention I want to bring you to is the very first en bloc that happens in Singapore, which is in 05 to 07. This is a time where we see the former interlace called Gillman Heights that got en bloc, very big HUDC, and also the former D'Leedon, which is Farrer Court, that went on en bloc as well. Okay, so back then when en bloc happens, developer doesn't need any so-called qualifying certification. And what does that mean? It means that there is no timeline for them to fully sell off the entire development. So back then there was a very so-called hot interest for developer who have a lot of equities to just buy land bank and keep them. Okay, so to give you some fun fact here is that Interlace actually took 10 years to sell. Okay, so if you realize how come Interlace can still sell in maybe around year 2012, 2013 and whatnot, because the development doesn't have any so-called rule called QC, which is qualifying certification. Okay, so there's no ABSD on them to sell within 5 years of acquisition. So with this, we saw in 08, we all knew what happened. We hit the GFC, right, global financial crisis, and the developers who acquired those en bloc in 05 to year 07 did not launch the product. They actually held on that recession period until fourth quarter 29. They then replenish the former en bloc to the marketplace to launch them. Okay, and once they launched this former en bloc, it brought the market up by 62 percentage points over 17 quarters. That impact was so huge that it requires the government to introduce 7 sets of cooling measures between September 2009 all the way to January 2013. But that didn't stop the red hot market. So what happened was they finally introduced one more cooling measures called the total debt servicing ratio in June 2013. Just follow my cursor, and that's where the property prices starts to drop. Okay, we then hit a technical recession in 2014 along with close to 40,000 homes unsold. Okay, along with Brexit and whatnot, the market was very soft, and we were absorbing new homes at about 9,000 homes year on year. Okay, and with Brexit and US-China trade war, the government did not basically intervene but the market by introducing more government land sales program. No, they felt that the market is weak. They just want the supply of 40,000 homes in 2013 Q4 to be slowly absorbed by the marketplace. So we're absorbing 9,000 homes year on year, and 2 years later in 2016 Q3, we left with about 20,000 homes. Okay, and the thing is, the market is still weak, and the government still did not pay attention to the government land sales program. So imagine this in 2016, you are a developer and your main business is to acquire land and then to release them for sale. That's your main core business, right? But in 2016, government is not releasing any more land, and then new homes are getting absorbed at about 9,000 homes year on year. And you know that if you don't do anything in Q3 2016, in the next 2 years, you have nothing left in the marketplace. And you got to do something. So what did the developer do? They went to the so-called resale market and do an en bloc. Why 2016? Why not later? Because just to give you some context, based on any land that was acquired by way of private acquisition, which is by way of en bloc, it takes about 1 year, 9 months lead time for them to relaunch the en bloc development. Okay, and that being said, that will easily mean that if 1 year, 9 months, they did not do anything, they will not be able to launch anything 2 years later, which is 2018. And that is where the inventory is drying, right? Okay, so this then took place. So 20,000 is the so-called magic number for en bloc to happen in 2016 Q3. So with this, we then saw the replenishment happening again, and this happens in 2018. So developments such as the Affinity at Serangoon and whatnot were basically launched during this period of time, if you could remember. Okay, and of course Sterling Residences and whatnot, and the price actually shoot up all the way by 12 percentage point over a period of 10 quarters. And right now you can draw some pattern here. So there's this skill set you got to basically learn, and this is something that I learned as well, and it has been very useful to me given how I've been anticipating the market. And this skill set is called pattern recognition. So as long as you can recognize pattern, you can then next thing utilize them, right? Which is what we are doing here. And the best part, beyond utilizing, the third step I want you to do is create your own so-called pattern, right? And that's where we can see where the market is going beyond what we are anticipating, okay? And this is exactly what you get from this chart. So I want you to pay extra attention here. So this replenishment block